Welcome back to Light Beyond the Ashes, the show where science meets spirit and awakening meets action. This week's guest needs no introduction, but he deserves one. You've probably seen him lighting up your For You page, blending mind expanding quantum biology with the wisdom of the ancients. He's none other than Tony Sposit, the TikTok history teacher. In this episode, Tony shares his awakening story, one that transcends textbooks and timelines. We dive deep into the hidden language of the universe, frequency, vibration, and resonance, and how these forces can heal the human soul. Together, we explore how Eastern and Western medicine are finally meeting in the middle, uniting energy and evidence to remind us of the forgotten truth that the body, mind, and spirit were never separate to begin with. If you've ever felt energy move through you, goosebumps rise for no reason, or music shift something inside you, this episode will awaken a part of you that's been waiting to remember. Welcome to Light Beyond the Ashes, the podcast where we talk to spiritually awakened souls who have transformed their lives. A lot of us have gone through trauma. A lot of us have gone through spiritual healing, emotional healing, and we've learned a lot of wisdom along the way. So today I have Tony, and Tony's going to be talking about his spiritual awakening journey and all of the ancient wisdom that he has learned. And potentially we could talk about some healing frequencies and the magic of vibrational frequencies in healthcare and how we can revolutionize our healing journeys for all humans. So, Tony, how did you find yourself here and doing TikTok history teacher? Did you have this slow burn, this slow evolution of a spontaneous spiritual awakening, or was it over a long period of time?
Um, it was about a year. The TikTok history teacher thing happened spontaneously. That was not something that I planned. Essentially, when TikTok was going to be banned, um, and that whole thing happened with like Red Note and everything like that,
Oh, yeah.
I found it comical because the country is banning an app on the basis of spying from China and national security, which then those same 170 million Americans went and joined an actual Chinese app that is in Chinese. It's in Mandarin. There's not an American version of it, basically owned by the Communist Republic of China. So, and I compared it to the Boston Tea Party, where I said, that's like what happened when we got angry about a tax on tea and went and threw all the tea in the ocean. It kind of took off from there. Within 2 months, I was, going 50, 60, 70,000 followers, and kept going. And as my content developed, as my awakening continued, my content developed, it kind of shifted more towards, how things are now. The burn was about a year,
Okay.
and it kind of spontaneously erupted April, May is
Of this
where it
year?
started of this year is where it really started throttling into it. But when it throttled into it fast, which is
Yeah.
typically my style.
Yeah. So tell the viewers a little bit about who you are and like what because I feel like a lot of us have regular schmegular jobs is what I usually say. Cause I'm like, I was not always spiritual. I woke up 2 years ago and then all of a sudden I started like hearing downloads. I started getting knowledge that wasn't mine. I was like, this is all new. So what?
Oh, it's still
Yeah.
all new for me. Like
Yeah.
I have there are days where it's very hard for me to believe.
Hmm.
Where I sit there and go, this is not real.
It
Like
feels like magic.
there's there's a saying out there, the only difference between magic and reality is the fact that you can understand it.
Hmm.
Back in the day when we did things, if you would take the iPhone or iPad down into uh, even 100 years ago, they would consider it magic. They'd
Right.
consider it, what's the sorcery? So eh, the thing I've come across in this whole thing is that anything and everything is possible. And
Uh-huh.
that's what makes this very unrealistic. Is like, so if this is real, then what else is real?
Right.
And that's what makes this for me, is where I have to wrap my mind around things sometimes. Like, okay, so this is real, but how is this real? And a lot of it has
Yeah.
been indoctrinated through history, so it's kind of rectifying what is real and what isn't.
For me, like, I kind of like, I'm a pediatric occupational therapist as my, like, everyday kind of job, and then when I had the awakening, I had always been very naturally curious about the stars and humanity and where we come from, and I always believed that peace was possible and that love for all was a thing, like, but nothing in my environment ever, reinforced that because it's such a contradiction to what we actually live every single day. So, do you feel like you kind of always felt like you didn't belong? Because I never felt like I belonged here and I always wanted to know more. And so I was a big fan of Ancient Aliens since I was a teenager. And it's one of my favorite shows because they talk about ancient civilizations, ancient histories, and then Ancient Apocalypse would come on. And I'm like, okay, I want to learn more, 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 more. And as I would awaken, like as I'm watching it, I'm hearing downloads of like, now we're getting somewhere. This is the truth. This is real. You've been hidden from the historical knowledge of
It
what was
was
always there.
it was more for me of I've always been a fan of history.
Mhm.
I love history. I love everything about history. And in particularly, I've been studying ancient Egypt since I was like 12, right?
It's so
And
cool.
it gave me reasons as to why I am the way I am, why I study what I study, why I enjoy what I enjoy. Ancient Egypt is one of my favorite times in history. And this doing what I've been doing, especially on TikTok and how I've been doing things with vibration resonance, things like that. I always said ancient Egypt wasn't so ancient. They were well beyond their times. Is why it's
Right,
one of my favorite times in history. They were far beyond it.
right.
And then getting into this stuff and learning that, okay, well, how they did resonance, like a lot of the temples used resonance and they had like resonance baths. And what they did is they made them out of granite, out of rose granite. Granite,
Mm,
when passed through a frequency, creates an electrical charge. We call this piezoelectricity.
mhm,
If I were to do a resonance bath right now, you would stick a transducer in there, which would be a piezoelectric transducer. So basically, what they did is they used granite and created an ancient transducer to create all this. So as I went through it, and as I continue to go through it, I find more honesty. And the thing with me is that when I see something or hear something, I just immediately, oh, no, that's right.
mm,
No, that's right.
mhm.
Especially when I got to started doing to do with the music and stuff like that and started listening to stuff like that. I got into 'em like, "No, that's right. That sounds right." "Oh, no." It's
Yeah.
a knowing rather than a guessing like, "Oh, okay, throughout history, this was might have been like this, or this could have been like this." No, it's a no, that's what this did.
What
That's how this
do
works.
you feel like it's different though? Like, was it always a knowing from when you were 12 all the way through? Or since
No.
you woke up, now it's like it just locks in and your highest self or however you perceive it, just like, yes, that's
It
accurate. Keep going.
it was always a question. So I'd hear something, I'd be like, "That doesn't seem right."
Mhm.
Like, "That doesn't make sense." I always used to say, "The math doesn't math on that."
Yeah.
You know? And since then, I'm able to go, "Oh, the math doesn't math on that. This is why." Okay,
Right.
so if I'm looking for something, and that's a lot of what I do with being a TikTok history teacher and doing things is in as and people who have watched me since I started this have said your content has evolved, what you're doing has
Mhm.
evolved. You started off with a lot of political things
Mhm.
and a lot of things like that and have developed into more real things. And I'm like, that's because of this, right?
Mhm.
Because now I can look at it and go, okay, this isn't right. What am I looking for?
Right.
And I'm able to think through it clearly, like, okay, this is what I'm looking for.
Mhm.
This is where I'm going with this.
And I think
And
as yeah, go ahead.
I'll be able to look into it and find what I'm looking for.
I think that as your content as well, because I've been following you for quite a while now, and I just love seeing the stuff. Like when you started talking about the Anunnaki and you started talking about the Dead Sea Scrolls, and I was like, okay, this is who I want to listen to because I'm so fascinated by the truth and I hate being lied to. And I'm a person who tells the truth. And so I'm like, we've not been told the truth, and you tell the truth. That's why I want everyone to hear your voice and your knowledge because you tell the truth.
That is the biggest thing that I started doing when I started shifting from
Hmm.
what I was doing. Where I was telling stories about things. Like I remember one of my favorite videos I did was when I really started doing this was about Operation Plumb Bob. And it was a story,
Hmm.
right? Basically, I took history and turned it into a story.
Yeah.
And the further I got into this, the further I got into the awakening, the further I got. down into this, the more I went, this is less about history and more about truth.
Mhm.
So I've got to find the truth of what things actually are. And then when I get there, that's when I make the video. And they're hard to make now because of that. You
Yeah, I
know,
don't know how much
so
evidence you have to find, like,
it,
you
I
can find evidence for everything.
breaking things down into a no more than 10-minute video
Mhm.
is difficult sometimes because I get people that'll say, "Well, you missed this," or "Well, that's not quite right." I'm like, "Listen, I know there's a ton that I missed. This is a broad strokes. The whole goal of this is that if you like it, go find it.
Right,
Go research it. Go look." That's the way we learn. That's the way I teach you is I want you to go look for it. I want you to go find this stuff. I'm just a starting point. I like to say I'm the bridge.
right.
I'm the starting point for everything. After that, it's up to you.
Right. You're like the
So,
spark that starts the fire because,
sure.
like, TikTok was such a huge part of my awakening, and like, almost every single I will say every single person who I've interviewed so far is on TikTok, and everyone who I have scheduled out through October is on TikTok. So it's kind of like I think that people are gonna be excited to see their favorite TikTok creators on here because we're
Mhm,
just talking about our favorite special interests. And so I'm neurodivergent, and I have ADHD and complex PTSD and all these different things that made me like see pattern recognition really easily. And so I was
mhm,
always very hyper vigilant of my environment.
mhm.
Um, and I started being able to like see things. I was like, this is not making sense. And I was like, I started just kind of putting two and two together. And then I call myself a nerd. I'm like, I just love to go learn. Like I can't learn enough, especially after the awakening. Like I will sit there and just like watch your videos. I'm like, okay, where's the next one? Where's the next one? Because then I learn a lot. And then I follow something else. I'm like, okay, that's teaching me about elevated human consciousness. What's going on Earth right now? Okay, we're having an expanded consciousness awakening globally. And it feels really messy. It feels really dark, but there's a lot of darkness in the world, and we're just shining the light into the truth.
Well, the more I've found into the truth, the more I've dug into this, the more I realize that, your body's going to go through a shock,
Right.
right? You're conditioned to operate a certain way. That's what I tell people when they do resonance music or any of the resonance sessions that I put out on my
Mhm.
Patreon, is that the first time you do it, it's not going to feel good.
Mhm.
Right? Your nervous system is adjusted to one thing. Your body is adjusted to one thing. And the
Right.
same thing goes for history and truth with TikTok. You'll sit there and you'll think about it for a second. And the goal of some of those videos is to get you to stare at the wall for an hour, right? Is to get there and go, uh, what? And
Cue
and
existential crisis.
yeah, and make you think. And then you realize like I gotta question existence for a second here.
Mhm.
The goal of that is to do that. Some of them are just fun.
Yeah.
The one I did, the last one I did before this, about air,
Mhm.
right? That's meant to make you stare at the wall for an hour.
Mhm.
That's the whole theme about it. The one I'm doing today is more just information kind of download, kind of like this is what happened, this is what this is, but some of them are more, they're meant to make you look. They're meant to make you sit
Yeah.
there and think about things for a second. That's how
And
you learn.
Mhm, and I think the society as a whole, especially in America, we are, like, so bogged down by stress and burnout and overwhelm that we don't really have time to take in more a lot of time until you reach, like, a capacity of, like, "I can't take anymore." And that's, like, when my awakening happened, it was like my body, my mind, my soul, my spirit was like, "Stop." And so in that stopping, I was like, "I need to go within." And when I went within, I started, like, hearing my higher self. I started, like, getting more clarity in my body, and so I use my hands to heal. I work with energy and I do all this kind of, frequency healing. I use tuning forks with healing. I'm seeing miraculous thing with tuning forks. I use frequency music in all my therapy sessions. I see the kids calm their bodies. So I work with non-speaking autistics and speaking autistics and everything in between with like developmental delay. And when I started using these strategies, I started seeing people heal and putting my hands on someone when I'm doing Reiki, I'll see their body just calm. Like I have someone who will just be screaming and losing their mind. And I literally will set the intention and I'm sending love into their body. It's all this is, right? I'm sending you love and I love you so much because it's all creation really comes from is love.
Mhm.
And when you send that high vibrational frequency and you move through it authentically and without ego, you're just like, I love you. You're safe. I watch kid after kid's body just calm. And then they like go, right? And that's what I'm aiming for. That's why this whole podcast even exists is because like I got the download that I'm supposed to tell stories of everyday people who woke up, who started learning more and
Mm,
questioning things and letting go of the programming, letting go of all of these like ideas that you thought you understood science, you thought you understood history, but there's so much more.
mhm.
And like when you and I started talking and texting and you were sending me your healing music and your frequency music that you're working on, which we'll play today for people. I knew that was like it was special. And so I really want to like lean into your knowledge and give you the platform to kind of talk about what it is that you do and how you see yourself, being the bridge and helping people to heal. Cause I think that's all of our missions at this point.
I am the bridge, right?
Mhm,
My whole thing is to make this palatable for people and at the same time provide receipts,
mhm,
right? So you're able to look at what I'm doing and go, okay, it's easy to look at it because and look at it and go, this is not real. This is
right.
not true. But then you go on my Discord and go into the sources section and you can find all of this and look it up yourself.
Mhm,
It's like this is real. I can give you receipts. I can prove it. And if you want to try it, you're going to go to these places and try it. I've had people since I've started doing the music and everything. I've had people tell me like you're all I listen to now.
mhm.
I don't listen to anything else. I listen to your songs and put it on repeat in the car.
It's so
That
good.
that boggles my mind. I mean, I joke about it. I'm a round faced history dude. That's what I do. You know what I mean? And it's very difficult for me sometimes to sit there and look and listen to people tell me about how something I've done has changed their life, or how buying the PEMF device that I suggest has altered their life, or how listening to my music has changed something for them. I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't know how I'm doing this. I mean, I
Mhm,
know, but it's like it's a shock to me, like, you gotta be kidding me.
right.
So,
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the PEMF device, because I feel like not a lot of people know what that is or what it stands for, and I think it's very, very valuable.
PEMF is pulsed electromagnetic field. The science of it is that in quantum biology, your body has what's called a biofield.
Mhm,
That's the kind of energy center around your body. This is where, frequency vibration kind of comes into that. Is your biofield is what people feel as quote unquote vibes,
mhm,
right? This device alters that biofield. So it puts out an electromagnetic single signal at a certain frequency that can help with things like anxiety, fibromyalgia,
oh, man.
PTSD, various different things that could do. And there's actually settings on there for grounding and solfeggio
Mhm,
frequencies. So these things then kind of come together to help manipulate your biofield, and it works. The
right.
first time I got it, I'm like, I don't believe this thing works.
Mhm,
And, since I've started using it, since I've started with the frequency music, believe me, I listen to my music all the time,
mhm,
right? Because I'm the one that sits there and I made it. And I
mhm,
sit there and go, like, I'll listen to it. I'll be like, this is really good.
mhm,
Right. And then sometimes I'll listen to them like, not my favorite. You
right.
know what I mean? But I
Like,
listen
your
to it.
body will feel it. Your body will feel if you like it or not.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
The way these songs are designed is they're designed to be played in a car or a room. A car is the best one,
Mhm.
where you put the song on, you turn your volume up, turn your bass up a little bit,
Surrounds you.
crack the window about this much, and you turn your car into a giant resonance chamber. And it
Whoa.
it actually vibrates through you and you'll feel it. Right? And that's the way they're designed. They're designed to go into a closed bathroom and put a speaker in there and turn it up, and you'll feel it. They're designed to be that way. And the whole reason I started it was because I'm like, I want to try this. I want to see how this works. And anything that I do or push or talk about, I've tried on myself,
Mhm,
right? Like I've done it. So before I tell anybody like this works, I've done it. When I talk about geology, I wear it. It
mhm.
works.
Me too.
These songs that I play, I've put them in my car. I drive them. Like if I create a song, the first thing I do after I listen to it to make sure I like it is I take it right out to the car. And I
Yeah.
sit down in the car and I'm like, okay, does this give the resonance that I like? Some of them have better than others,
Mhm.
but does this do what I want it to do? And if it does, then I'm like, okay, so we'll schedule it for release. If
Yeah.
it doesn't, then okay, back to the drawing board. You
So
know
where
what I mean?
where can people I know we're gonna I'm gonna post everything and all of your contacts, everything in the description and in the end of the video, but where could someone go and find your music to listen to every day in their
So
car?
so most of it is on SoundCloud. All of it's on SoundCloud, and it's soundcloud.com. My name for this is the Awakened History Teacher.
Mhm.
Um, so but as of today, it was released on Spotify, Apple Music, um everywhere you can get tracks.
Yeah.
Now there's only a couple songs up right now because I wanted to get everything started and get the original couple tracks that I have. And then once everything's there, I'll put a bunch more out there. Um, but you can pretty much get it anywhere now. And it's the same thing with the podcast. Once I get the
Yeah.
podcast started, you're going to be able to go to some place, but it's going to be everywhere you get your podcasts.
Yeah, exactly. I think that your
So,
frequency being readily available for people, especially during such a transitional, transformative, revolutionary time in humanity, like we're seeing the split happening of where we're like anchoring in higher vibrational frequencies. Like we're seeing this split. I think people now more than ever need to know the power of healing vibrational frequency in their body.
well, yeah, and yesterday, especially with what happened recently.
Hmm.
Somebody messaged me yesterday on my Discord and said, "I'm having a real hard time.
Hmm.
I'm having a real hard time with what happened with Charlie Kirk. I'm having a hard time. What can you do?
Hmm.
Right? What do you suggest?" And I said, "Go outside and ground."
Right.
Right? And I said, she goes, "Well, I want to do this." I'm like, "Here." And I sent her 3 of the tracks that haven't been released yet. I'm like, "Here, try these. These are
Hmm.
new. There's something different." Because that's one of the reasons I release them so often is, some places, I've talked with a couple people through doing this that have been like, don't release them every couple days. Release them like once every 2 weeks. I'm like,
Mm,
that's not the point. The point is that there's always something new on there. You can listen to all of my music, but there's always something new for you to try.
right.
There's always something there that's different.
Yeah.
So with that, I release them every 2 or 3 days. And I sent her 2 or 3 of them. I'm like, these haven't been released yet. They're being released next week. So not for me. This is not about. I've had so many people tell me, well, you should do this. You can make money. You should do this. You can make money. You should do this. You can make money.
Hmm.
This for me is not about making money.
Right.
This
It's
for
about
me
healing
is
people.
about healing and
Right.
helping and
Hmm.
getting the truth out there. That's what this is about.
Right.
So, do I have places where like, with my Patreon and subscriptions and stuff like that? Yeah, I ask. I don't say I charge for it. I ask
Hmm.
because these things take time to make,
Right.
but most of the stuff that I do is very affordable, or if I ask you for something, it's as low of a price as I can do it. It's as low of a cost for me to still be able to do what I need to do, but still be able to give it. So,
Yeah.
and I try to make it worth people's time, but it's something that has blown up in what
Mhm.
I've done that was so unexpected. I thought when I wanted to try this, I'm like, I Googled resonance music. I Googled this. Everything was all meditative.
Right.
Like you
Mhm.
what you want to listen to go to sleep.
Right.
I'm like, I don't want that. I want something that's upbeat, fun,
Mhm.
enjoyable, stuff that you can listen to in the car, stuff that you
Right.
can listen to with your kids, you know? And I'm like, well, you can't find it. What can you do? You can
The
make
thing
it.
is, like, whenever I started listening to your music, because I'm so used to, like, the solfeggio frequencies, and I listen to 432 and 528 and 830, all these 852, all these different frequencies, right? And it's so calming and it's so relaxing. Like my kids really like it. And I put them on the vibration plate to move the energy up and out. Like we do all
Mhm.
these different kinds of things where we're giving them healing modalities, but it's usually in a calming way because a lot of kids who, especially kids on the spectrum, are really like dysregulated. Their bodies are just out
Oh
of control,
yeah.
right? Like
Like
humans in general, like we're also
I'm
dysregulated.
I'm autistic, so you know
Yeah.
what I mean. That's you talk about seeing patterns. Add
Mhm,
ADHD and autism onto it,
mhm. You're
then
like, I
then
see
then
everything.
awaken,
Yeah.
right? That you're like, the hell?
And your nervous system is so dysregulated. So I work on
Yeah.
vagus nerve stimulation. I work on deep breathing. Like my job is to help regulate people's nervous system for a living. That's what I get paid for. Like I have my own company. This is what I do. But when I started doing it on myself to heal my own nervous system when I woke up and I was not okay, I was like, holy crap, this works. Like I started doing reflex integration. I started doing nervous system regulation with vagus nerve stimulation and deep breathing and humming breathing and ear circles and all these different like physical things of just
Mhm.
using my God given nervous system to heal it versus all the medicine I was throwing at it that was just numbing me and not helping me. And then I started doing frequencies. Then I started doing tuning forks. Then I started doing Reiki. And I was like, holy grounding every single day. My homework that I give to parents every day is go ground barefoot in the grass. They're
Mhm.
having a really hard day. Please take your shoes off and go be in the grass every
Mhm.
single day.
Mhm.
And like that has changed my life. My kids ground with me every day. My husband grounds with me every day. And I never grounded before 2 years ago. Like I never would make a practice to do that ever.
See, the thing is that the part of being the bridge is I try to give people the ability to do this without like one of the devices that I work with a company called Arizona Health, and one of the devices is a vagus nerve stimulator that you
Hmm.
just hang around your neck. It's a little pendant.
Hmm.
So while you can do those times, those skills take time to develop to be able to
Right.
do that. I've learned in that. The goal is for me to give you the taste of it. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
you can use this stuff and you can get better because once
Hmm.
people start getting better, once they start feeling better, they're going to advance into it
Right.
because okay, these things make me feel better. Okay,
Hmm.
well, let's look a little bit deeper into this and see what we can find. You know what I mean? So it's I'm the bridge.
Yes.
I'm the point where this all comes together and you can come to me for the basic information and do these things and try them and then you can go out on your own just like students. You come to me
Exactly.
for a year, you sit down in class, you come to your teacher for a year, you sit down in class, you listen to what they have to say and then you move on with life.
Right.
You move on to the next subject. It's the same deal. It's
And
you
then
can sit down with me and then you move on.
and then what I see you doing is like you're healing the biofield, right? And so when you heal the biofield, like because when I'm reading like all this stuff about the biofield right now, and I'm taking a sound certification course right now, I'm just like learning everything I can about resonance and how different frequencies can heal different conditions.
Mhm.
And how detached we've been in mainstream healthcare about this because we're just like, oh, this is woo woo, this is quackery, this is like fake. And like your videos resonate so deeply because that's what I'm telling parents every day. I'm like, you are a toroidal field, you are an electromagnetic being of light, and you have a biofield. And in that biofield, when there is dysfunction from pollutants, from, pain, from trauma, you're going to have dis-ease. And when you have dis-ease, you're going to have inflammation, you're going to have disease in your body, you're going to
Mhm.
have anxiety, depression, gut pain, all these different things. And it's like, you can heal this. Like, guys, you can heal this.
Well, the thing that I laughed about, and this is the hardest, this was something for me that I found is like, okay, so the body is electromagnetic. It
Mhm.
works on resonance.
Right.
Disease is then the breaking of resonance.
Mhm.
Okay. Illness is then the breaking of resonance. Healing is then restoring the body back to resonance.
Right.
It's that simple.
Mhm.
So you get sick, the resonance is broken. Okay,
Mhm.
so your body fights off the infection, you get the flu, your body fights off the infection, you do all that, you start feeling better. Once you feel better and the illness itself is gone, then healing is putting your body back in resonance.
Mhm.
So it's fought off the infection. You've done this. Okay, so bring the body back to where it should be and you'll feel better. And that's where Western medicine has a problem is that we treat with medications. And I go into my videos, I go through the whole history of why this is
Mhm.
the way it is. And there are videos that I've done that I've been like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this video.
Does
Right?
it make you nervous?
It makes me nervous. I don't want to do this video. I'm calling out the AMA. I'm
I know.
calling out all of these things. I'm basically
Mhm.
standing on a platform and going, "You've done this."
Right. For
Right?
profit. For
Right,
profit.
for profit. I don't want to do it because
Right.
like I am absolutely on a watch list.
Right.
Right? But the fact is I sit there and go, "No, this needs to come out." And even in
Mhm.
some of the videos, you'll see me sit there and be like, "I don't wanna do this. Alright, screw it, let's go." You know what I mean? It's some videos I do wanna do, some videos I don't. But
Yeah.
the truth is that the ones that I don't are generally the ones that need to get out there.
They're the ones that feel like the hardest. So I recently did a video on just like we are all one and what that means and like in the reference frame to immigration and what's been going on in this country and just worldwide. And I'm like, "We are one." And I was terrified. Like, I'm
Mhm,
talking, it took me 3 days to post it. I cried after I did it. And
mhm.
then I had like divination help me walk through it. And they're like, Yeshua, Jesus was like, put my words on top of it. I'm like, so I just like put all these words on top of it. And then the way it landed was so beautiful because now it's my top rated view video ever. It's at over 270,000 views. And I was so scared because I was like, I'm
Oh,
putting a
yeah.
target on my back and I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to, that's like a fear of people like us who are healing is I don't want to get in trouble. I'm just telling the truth. And when you tell the truth, like people don't like it when you tell the truth anyways. That's my entire intro to this entire podcast when I did my own episode was people don't like it when we tell the truth. We're going to tell the truth anyways, and we're safe to do it. Like that's what this is.
I don't care about being in trouble.
Yeah.
Well-behaved people rarely made history,
Yeah. I have that on
right?
my book.
What I care
Yeah.
where I care about is my family,
Hmm.
right? I don't want this to backlash on them,
Right.
right? You know what I mean? So I don't care. This is the truth. This is what I've set out to do. This is my mission is
Right.
to get the truth out there and tell people the truth. And then if they want to heal, give them the ability to heal
Yeah.
and do it affordably
Hmm.
where it's not going to cost them a ton of money, you know, and give them the option to once they start healing, once they feel that way, then they can either choose to go into it or they can choose to go, I don't like this. This is not it. I want to go back to the way it was. And that's your
Hmm.
choice.
I feel like you're giving them the key and it's up to them if they have that free will to turn the key and walk through the door or not. And that's all this is of being the bridge is like, here's the information, do with it what you want,
Hmm.
take it or leave it, believe it or don't. It doesn't impact me at all. I'm just sharing what I have come to learn as truth. And here's the evidence
Hmm.
to support what I've learned. And so
Hmm.
I'm absolutely obsessed with the fact that you have almost like evidence based practice of all of this stuff because it just reinforces that this was known in the early 1900s. This was known and it was taken away. It was diminished. Our music was changed from 432 hertz to 444 hertz or 440 hertz. And then when we now play music at that harmonic resonance of 432, you're not in chaos and anxiety and fear. You're actually in peace, harmony, and love. Like that's where our bodies vibrate at.
Well, what's fun is when you tune the music to one of the higher frequencies.
Tell
So
me more.
a lot of my songs that you hear are based not on just 432.
Ooh,
So some of the songs that I have are based on higher frequencies.
I love that.
So like one of the one that I sent you that you'll want to listen to, that's based in uh 639 and 741.
Mm,
Those are the two that's based in. You know, and then I add in everything into these. I'll add in resonance, you know, put heavy bass for resonance. I'll add in I'll add in golden ratio. So you take the golden ratio and then you break the sequencing up of the actual beats in the song and break it up and sequence it in Fibonacci sequences to the golden ratio,
oh my God, I
right?
love it.
So it actually hits a certain way. Then if there's a track that I listen to and I'm like, okay, I need it to punch a little bit more, I'll add in brain waves. Okay, put theta waves into it, put gamma waves into it, and
Hmm.
make them put theta and gamma waves into it, and make them binaural, theta in the left, gamma in the right.
I'm moving so much energy because I can feel like this is
Right.
so powerful. This is so
So
powerful.
so then it comes together, and as it comes together, I'm like, okay, I'll listen to the track. I'm like, I don't like that. It doesn't
Mhm,
hit. You know
mhm,
what I mean? So then I'll go back to the drawing board. I'm like, okay, let's tweak this. Let's
mhm.
change this. Let's up the BPM. Let's up the BPM a little bit. Right? Let's make it a little faster. Okay, we'll take this and make this a solid drone in the background because it's the tracks are layered. So
Mhm.
sometimes like one of the ones that I did um is called Your Eyes and it's got an ancient Egyptian theme into it.
That was the one I listened to, I loved it.
The bass in the background that you hear is a solid drone just pitched between keys instead of pitched between notes. So where you have bass, you'll have two different basses. So you'll have, a higher bass line and a lower bass line. It stays, I believe it's at 528. It stays at 528 and pitches between keys. So you'll get the change in the bass that you want, but it's still 528 no matter what. And it is 528 throughout the entire song.
Oh my god, this is
So
beautiful.
it's pitched to change that way to keep this resonance into it. So Your Eyes was one of the ones that I'm like, okay, I'm ancient Egypt. I've studied ancient Egypt since I was 12. Let's
Mhm,
do an ancient Egypt song, right? Let's
mhm.
do something that gives resonance from ancient Egypt. And that one I kind of did and I'm like, you know, let's change this. Let's do
Mhm.
this. And I got to the end of it, and it was one of those like, I'm gonna sleep on this. You know what I mean? I don't know. And then I came back the next day and listened to it. I'm like, nope, that's going out. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? That one's happening.
It was so good. I had it blaring in my car, and then, like, I don't speak light language, like, a lot of my spiritual friends do speak light language, and we have all these different gifts we've all acquired. They're gonna be on the podcast too. I don't yet speak light language, but I do my hands start moving in different, like, mudras, and I'm like, "What the heck are my hands doing?" But then I do healing with it, and I send Reiki, and it's just, like, the coolest experience for people who receive my healing. And so I was listening to Your Eyes in the car. My husband's just so used to me. My kids are so used to me. I'm like, "I'm weird, leave me alone." And I started doing all this light language and I was just feeling it. And I was like, "Oh, this is special." Like I remember Your Eyes
Mhm,
like being something that made my body feel different.
mhm.
And then I was in a better mood. I didn't have any anxious thoughts. I didn't have anything. It was just like chill. But it was also super high energy music. It wasn't chill music. It was like your EDM
It's
kind of
it's
dance
supposed to.
festival. Yeah.
It's supposed to. It's supposed to be stuff that you can listen to in the car. It's supposed to
Yeah.
be something, and you're doing it without realizing you're doing it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, you know it's there, you know what it is, you know that this stuff is there, but you don't realize what you're doing. And in the end of it, for people that don't wanna do it, right, who don't wanna be like that, but still hear it, they go, "I don't know why I feel better after your music, but I do." I'm like,
I can
I
see
can tell you exactly why you feel better after my music, but you know what? We'll leave that alone.
we'll leave
Thank
that
you.
alone. I'll take the compliment and move on with my day. I
Yeah.
can see you being like Pretty Lights or Lincoln Jesser. Like we're going to a Lincoln Jesser concert, I think next week in New York City, like a rooftop concert and just like open air in the middle of Manhattan, just getting all this EDM music of that's high. It's got frequency in it. It's got messages in it. It's so beautiful. And then Pretty Lights is also high vibes. I just can picture you being like at Tomorrowland playing your music. Like that's where I
So
envision you.
so one of the things I used to do back in my younger days is I used to actually like DJ, and I would do the lighting.
Mm,
So I am big on it because I design it with the thought of, if I ever add lighting to this, if I were to ever design lighting for this, would that amplify the song? Because in some songs, blue light, red light, green light, you
mhm,
know what I mean? And do this, if I were to add lights to this, could I change the actual impact of the song, adding LED DMX lighting into this?
mhm.
Yeah, I can.
I think you could.
Okay, then that's a different story. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? So it's built, these things are built with all of this in mind. And sometimes it takes more thought, sometimes it takes less thought. Some tracks are going to be good, some tracks are not going to be good for that, but the remainder of them, is it's built to have an impact on you.
So, knowing that you have like the DJ history and you have the ancient Egyptian like interest from a young age, tell the viewers, the listeners, how the Egyptians used resonance or any cool story about Egypt and the technology that they utilized in their healing or just in their civilizations in general that will awaken some people to maybe thinking a little differently. What's your favorite thing to talk about?
So there's a lot of things. It's Egypt, I can talk for hours on it.
Yeah.
um Egypt, World War II, I can talk for hours on those. um the thing that's it's big that people don't know is that the temples that everybody sees, Karnak, things like that, were designed as resonance chambers.
Hmm.
They use certain stones. They use certain ways. A lot of them have pools in them. What we thought were just steps or something like that, we're
Hmm.
finding out that this lower area was a pool,
Hmm.
right? And when you do that and you vibrate, you put a granite rose quartz pool, a granite pool that has rose quartz into it, and vibrate it, it creates an electrical charge and will create something called cymatics. These are
Hmm.
the shapes that you see. A lot of people do it with sand on whatever. You do it in water, right?
Hmm.
And then submerge yourself in that water. Your body's 80% water,
Hmm.
right? So now you're submerging yourself in water with 80% water passing the resonance through you.
Into your
Your
body.
your body's going to resonate at that frequency too. and then you add in the other things. So you add in, the Egyptians used a lot of oils, frankincense,
Mhm.
myrrh, blue
Mhm.
lotus. So add that into there. Okay, so you add a little bit of oil into there. Okay, so you get a diffuser and you do something like this, and that helps. Okay, well, add this into there. Let's add this into there and see what this does. You know what I mean? And ultimately, as I've gone through this, it's been a healing thing for me because I'm sitting there going like, this is working on me, and I'm the guy
Mhm.
that's making it. So that's what I do is okay, so I'll share this. That's a lot of the reason I did the
Yeah.
Discord is that you can come and see what I've done or see how I've done it. And I remember the one I did not that long ago. I took one of the resonance sessions that I did, and I have a hot tub out back, and I'm like, I was feeling not great, so I took and put my headphones in and walked out to the hot tub and heated it up to human body temperature. I think I heated up to 99 degrees or 100 degrees, right? And went out there and sat in this and put my headphones in and laid there and turned the LED lights on at blue and laid there. And I got out of there and I was dizzy and lightheaded, but I was electric and I could feel myself vibrating. And I walked inside and looked at my wife and I'm like, every human being on the planet needs to do this, right?
Mhm.
Like this was an incredible experience, and I can only imagine what it's like if I actually put something in there that will actually cause the water itself to vibrate.
Mhm.
Right? Like this is just me putting headphones in. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like once I actually vibrate the water. Let's
Mhm.
make the water vibrate at this frequency. I don't that's going to be incredible.
I wonder if we can get like a waterproof like subwoofer that like goes under. I have a bone conducting speaker that I'm trying on like patients to see if like we can put the frequency into the body. Like the PEMF might be better, but I'm trialing it out and the child seems to like it. But if you put something in the water that's able to cause that frequency, because it's just like when you throw a stone in the water and you see the ripples go out, like you're seeing physical movement and then you see frogs and they're ribbiting and you're like, they're making that hum and you can see the water moving around them. It's like, that's
Use
vibrational frequency.
use something inflatable.
Ooh.
So like my hot tub is not like a solid hot tub, it's one of the inflatable ones. Inside the hot tub in there, there's a chamber where all the air goes.
Yeah.
So if you put a speaker, and I have, like I said, I used to DJ, so I have the big 2,500-watt speakers. If I put a speaker on each side of it, turn up the bass and turn up the volume a
Mhm.
little bit, it's going to send that frequency into that chamber where the air is, which is
Mhm.
going to bounce back and forth and then send the resonance into the water.
Wow.
So
That's pretty cool.
use something inflatable because you can get like even if you wanted to take it with you, you can get inflatable plunge baths like people do with ice baths.
Yeah.
You can get an inflatable one of those. So you could take it
Oh, it's true.
someplace realistically and fill it with water, with warm water, and put a speaker next to it and pass it in there and just have somebody plunge into it.
That's so
Right?
amazing. I think this is the future of healing. I think that
One would hope.
people are so desperate. I think a lot of us are experiencing, um, toxicities from our environment, from our food, the water, the soil, the air, and I think people are just tired of it. You have a lot of
Oh yeah.
environmental toxins that are, causing neurological delays, causing brain fog, physical pain, all these
Mhm.
different conditions, and then you go to the doctor and Western medicine is like, "Oh, you have this condition, here's another medicine." And like before I knew it, I was on like 10 or 12 pills a day and I wasn't actually feeling that much better. I was just numbing myself. And then I was like, "Oh, now I can't cry. That's cool." Versus now I cry easily and effortlessly because I'm just an open vessel of healing. Like I don't think it's energy and motion. Emotion is just energy and motion and I'm moving it through my body.
See, here's the thing that bounces back in your case is the fact that I'm on medication for what I have as well. And if I
Mhm.
don't take it,
Mhm.
I lose the ability to do this stuff.
That's so fascinating.
Because that's why I say I don't dog Western medicine.
No.
Medications are good, right? They're
Mhm.
good for some things, but they're
Right.
tools.
They're tools. They're not
They're
the
not
end all be all.
cures.
Right.
They're
They are a
tools.
they're a bridge too. Medicine is a bridge too. Like, I'm
Right.
in Western medicine. I deeply believe in the benefit of Western medicine, but
Mhm.
my focus is to merge ancient Eastern medicine with Western medicine and just be like, "Let's look at the whole picture versus I have half of
That's
the recipe versus the whole recipe, and now I can make the best cake ever because I have all the information and I'm not in denial that this stuff was real and that 2,000, 5,000 years ago, they also knew what they were doing, and maybe let's listen to the shamans. Maybe let's listen to the natives. Maybe let's listen to the people from across the world and all these civilizations that did the same kinds of things. And you see
Yep.
sacred geometry in all of these civilizations. They used it
Mhm.
intentionally and strategically. And I was I was watching this video on TikTok because that's just I feel like I've learned so much on TikTok more than I've ever learned anywhere else.
Mhm. Why do you
You
think they wanna ban it?
Exactly, you being a prime example, and also we can share knowledge effortlessly.
Mhm.
But I listened to this guy, he was talking about how cloud seeding is like 5 to 15% effective for creating rain, but they studied over, I think it was like 400 sessions of these natives who were doing rain dances, and they had like 78.5% success rate of bringing rain in. They danced in sacred geometry and like the golden
Mhm.
ratio, like you were talking, the Fibonacci spirals. They had certain resonances that could go up into the ether because the ether is entirely where free energy lives, but we've not been told
Mhm.
about it. And then they anchor it in through grounding too. And it's just like they're using their voice and chanting and resonance in a spiral to then call
Yeah.
in rain, mimicking hurricanes and tornadoes. And I'm like, huh, how'd they know that? How'd they
Well,
know that?
people look at a lot of things they did, and they like, you watch some of the dances and stuff that they did or whatever they did, and you look at it
Mhm.
and go, "That's weird."
Mhm.
Okay, well, it's weird, but there's a reason for it.
Mhm.
Like, where you people don't ask the right questions,
Right.
okay? This is where I go, people know the who, what, and when, right? And the where.
Right.
They don't ask the why and the how. And that's a lot of what I've done is I ask why and how. Okay, so why we know that this was done this way. We know where it was done this way. We know why it was done this way, or we know who it was done with. But why did that happen? And how can we either understand it or fix it? So
Right.
that's part of what I did with a lot of what I do with with being the TikTok history teacher is the only questions I ask are why and how. Right? That's what I
Yeah.
ask.
If you had your entire like dream come true, resources are unlimited, what would healing look like for all humans? And like, what should we be striving for? What could
It'd
healthcare
be
actually look like?
it'd be a blend,
Mm,
right? So okay, so don't get me wrong. Surgery is a good thing.
mm,
Okay? You need it for some things. You
mhm.
break a bone, right? You break your femur, it needs to be put back in place.
Correct.
We have the ability to do that.
Mhm,
Cancer is a good one. Is okay, so, can cancer be prevented? Maybe, maybe not. Does frequency work? Maybe, maybe not. That doesn't change the fact that if you have a tumor there, you need to remove the tumor.
mhm,
Okay? It's not going to shrink.
mhm,
So, I mean, it'll shrink a little bit, but it's not going to go away. So that's where the medicine end of it comes back in there is we bridge it. Okay,
mhm,
so, mental health is a great one to use an example for this. Resonance is not going to cure, it's not going to be a replacement for therapy. You still need to talk about this. You still need to deal with it. You still need to go through it. However, then resonance becomes a tool,
mhm,
right? So, okay, I've gone to therapy. I talked to the therapist. I feel my emotions moving. I feel this happening. Now let's add some resonance into this. Let's add
mhm,
some of these ancient lessons into this.
mhm.
And then once we do that, now you're doing a completed package.
Right.
Okay. So, you're sick. Let's use COVID, for example, right? You're sick. You have COVID. Okay. Well, you get an infection. You're going to need the antibiotics to treat the infection. That's the beauty part of Western medicine is we have these things. So you get the antibiotics. Well, after that, okay, so you have the antibiotics on board. Now you go into a resonance chamber
Mm,
and you get that vibration, that resonance healing to restore you.
yeah.
PEMF is one of the most amazing things. There's a study out there. PEMF has actually been used to reoxygenate brain tissue post stroke.
Wow.
Like doctors can't do that. Once your brain tissue dies and it's deprived of oxygen, there's nothing we can do. PEMF, on the other hand, can help reoxygenate that tissue.
Yeah.
So
And
why are we not doing this? Why are
exactly.
people who are stroked out, why are we not getting them the PEMF device and reoxygenating their brain tissue? Why are we looking at them go, oh, well, you had a stroke, that's it.
Exactly. And I think like for me, I'm seeing also like the power of the mind tied to emotion. And you listen to Joe Dispenza and his documentary Heal, and how you can actually at a cellular level start changing things with
Mhm,
when you step into the quantum field. So with my experience and what I've been walking through with my tribe, is leaning into the quantum field of the unexplainable, the things that don't match in science. And then also like leaning into Mother Earth. And yes, I still like right now, I'm learning. I'm not fully well versed on herbs and medicinal properties of Mother Nature. I have friends who are, right? And so instead of maybe going to amoxicillin, which is a powerful drug and it helps, it can also ruin the gut biome. But is there another alternative of having, oregano or other different types of medicinal properties that are antimicrobial or antibiotics, and like using the earth because our
myrrh.
prescription myrrh, like our prescriptions actually do come from the root foundation
Mhm,
of what is a natural something that grows from earth, right? And it's just
mhm,
been deviated into a prescription that can be made for profit. Now,
mhm,
I think that the human body is very, very capable of healing. And I did do therapy, and I'm deeply, deeply grateful for my therapist. She's an angel. I love her very much. She was the entire like how I got to this point is with talk therapy,
mhm,
but it wasn't the whole piece of the puzzle. And I also find with complex PTSD, for a lot of us who it's painful to revisit those memories, like you can use plant medicine, you can use, different types of strategies such as emotion code, which is one of my friends, Laura, is amazing, and she has an indigenous blood in her bloodline, and so she has turned to doing emotion code, and so she can go into the deep subconscious mind. And I'm telling you, this woman is 100% accurate for me, my children, my friends. She'll jump in and she will know the age for which I experienced something and be able to release that tie at a subconscious level. And I feel better. My children feel better. Like my children don't even oftentimes know that she did it in that day. They're just like, oh, I feel so much better and lighter and I'm not crying anymore. I'm not sad anymore. And my husband will feel lighter. But I never had to go and revisit the trauma. She would just like cut that energetic tie in the quantum. So I think there's still so much that we're learning. And I want to lean into the shamans and the energy healers and the Reiki masters because there is so much power in in our bodies that we haven't yet learned to harness. And when I put my hands on my husband, anybody really that I put my hands on, they feel tingling in their body. They see colors, they have an experience. My husband had anxiety one day and I literally pulled it out of his chest and he was like, how did you do that? And I was like, I just
mhm.
set my intention that I was. And so I think there's still so much that we're still learning. And that's why my whole goal is I'm on a fact finding like discovery with this podcast is like, I want to know what you know. I want to know what that healer knows. I
Mhm.
want to know what everybody knows because I think that's where we all are the bridge. Like we're all kind of combining our wisdom and our experiences to show the way.
You do it through your way. I do it through history and science.
Hmm.
Right? So you have your way about it and you do it through what you've learned and how you do it. I very much try to ground myself in this.
Hmm.
It's easy to go off into left field, it's easy to go off in the right field, it's easy to go up in the sky. It's very
Hmm.
easy.
Very
But the
easy.
problem is to get it to resonate with people is you got to ground it.
Right.
So, the easiest thing for me to do is I'm the grounding point for all of this,
Hmm.
right? I'm going to show up. I'm going to teach you what it is. I'm going to show you what it is. I'm going to have receipts to back what it is, tell you how it's worked for me. What you do from there is up to you,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And that's where it goes. And it's kind of funny that you talk about things like that is because part of this process is about 8 months, 9 months ago. All of a sudden, I understood quantum physics. I never studied quantum physics in my life.
Same.
I didn't get it. All
Mm-mm.
of a sudden, one day, I'm looking at this and I'm reading something and I'm like, "Oh, I get that.
Yep.
Wait, I what? Like, okay, so this is how this works. How the hell do I know this?" And then
Mhm.
the more I study it, like, you get into quantum entanglement. And I'm like, okay, so quantum
Mhm.
entanglement works like this: two particles with a string between them, one will change the other, this will that. And I'm like, okay, I get it. And then I'll read on something like that, and there will be that exact description in there. I'll be like, how the hell do I know this?
Right, it's a knowing.
Right. So Quantum biology is another one. Okay, so quantum biology works like this. This is how this works. This is how this works. So if I do this and take this and do this, and that's how the resonance music came around. So, okay, so quantum biology works like this. We're going to vibrate this at this. We're going to do this like this. Okay, so if I use this with this and do this with this, it should give me this result. You know what I mean? So that's where for me this becomes an experience where I'm like, how do I understand this? I've
Yeah.
never studied this before in my life. How do I get it?
Yeah, the double slit theory for me, I was like, "Why do I get this? How do I
Hmm.
understand the observer effect and how long
Hmm.
it's been around for?" You explain the observer effect really beautifully, I think, in one of your videos. Do you feel like you could explain it for the listeners, just like how that works?
Specifically to what I
So,
don't.
how you can manifest different realities based on what you're observing, because all particles in the wave exist at
Oh,
one time.
so scientifically in quantum physics, there's a field inside of your cells, right? Inside of your cells, there's an atom. Inside the atom, there's a field of electrons. We call this the quantum field. The
Mhm,
electrons exist in both a positive and negative state, which
mhm.
technically means, if you look at it this way, it technically means they exist out of time.
Right.
However, what you can do is, as a human, you can influence which way they go.
Mhm,
So you can influence the quantum field to turn to a positive state, which then, when you turn that into a positive state, then turns the cell into a positive state. The cell then turns whatever the cell is made up of into a positive state. Whatever is made up of then turns pieces of pieces of your body into a positive state. So you can actually influence that by switching, by managing that. You know, you think positive thought. The simple thing is, you think positive thoughts, you think good things, you do that, you change those to a positive state,
mhm,
right? And when you change those to then you got good vibes. That's what they call good vibes. If you do bad stuff, you think poorly, and it turns it negative, right?
mhm,
And then you don't vibrate that way, and people can go back and forth by what they. It's all influenced by thought,
mhm. Tied
right?
to emotion.
I emotions are part of it, right?
Mhm,
Because this field turns a certain way, and your body emotions are your body's reaction to things.
right.
It's your brain's reaction to something.
Mhm,
So it's like when you touch a hot pan, right? It burns. Okay. Well, your brain, your mind in that doesn't have that ability to touch a hot pan. It's not going
mhm,
to burn them. But when your mind gets a stimuli like that, it has to find a way to express it, which
mhm.
is an emotion.
Right.
So when you're anxious, your brain is telling you there's something wrong here,
Mhm.
right? And the problem is, in Western medicine, we then medicate for that.
Right,
So
versus listening to that
you
signal.
you're subduing your brain from telling you the truth,
Right.
right? So that's why my daughter is the exact same way. I tell her all the time. I'm like, treat your emotions like clouds. See them, acknowledge them, feel them, and then let them float away,
Mm,
right? Don't dwell on them.
mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
Because what you do is, then you dwell on them, then you're going to influence the quantum field.
So, yeah, exactly. It's like where your intention goes is where your energy flows, right? That whole mantra.
Mhm.
And so, if you are perceiving your reality as negative and you continue to live in that and then you perseverate and you're like, okay, it's going to keep me bad. My circumstances around me are showing me that it's bad. I have no evidence that it's ever going to be good. And you can't think positively. The universe has no other opportunity other than to say yes, right? Like that's where your attention is. That must be what you want. Okay, fine. More of that versus I'm thinking positive thoughts, but I'm really still dysregulated and I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling nervous. I'm feeling depressed. And I'm like, no, that's never going to happen. My mantra is I'm the healthiest, wealthiest, happiest version of myself, surrounded by peace, love, and positivity. And when I started saying that, it absolutely was not that at all. But so my emotions, my nervous system was not in alignment. And so when it wasn't in alignment, everything kind of had to fall away so I could get into alignment to feel that way. And the more I have believed it, the more I feel it, the more I'm experiencing it. And that leads me to now I'm on a podcast and my heart's not racing. I'm not scared. I'm just having a beautiful conversation with a really cool guy who knows a lot of really smart things. Right. And so before my nervous system couldn't hold the frequency of what I wanted. And so the more you regulate, like in that quantum field, the more you're able to actually get the things that you want and live the reality you want. And then the observer effect of the double slit theory, like every wavelength of that particle is possible until it's observed.
Well, it's the same. You look at it that way. This is all affected by you, right? It's
Right.
perception versus perspective.
Mm,
Everybody views the world through their own perception,
right.
right? Which then generates their perspective,
Hmm.
right? So being a good person who can talk and listen and understand people is the ability to understand, and where most people stop is they understand somebody's perception. I get it. I
Hmm.
understand what you're saying. Switch to their perspective.
Mm,
Okay, so I see what you're doing. I understand why you're doing it. So how can we fix this? Right?
right.
And some people aren't going to deal with it. Like, you could switch into their perspective and you can see what they're seeing, and you can look, you're just not getting it.
Right.
Right? You're not going to get it. You're stuck in your own perception. You're stuck in your
Hmm.
own perspective of this. Right? You got to step outside of that. And
Yeah.
and people ask me, I've had people ask me, how does this whole thing work together? And the best answer I've given them so far, and the best way I came up with it, is all of this works like a computer, right? So to make a computer operate, you need the hardware. You need the actual computer core, the you everything like that. So that is the body. Each one of the pieces parts in there needs to make the computer work. You
Hmm.
need your graphics card, your fan, your whatever it is. You need all of that. Okay? So that's your body. Then you need something to tell it what to do, to have everything operate in sequence, right? So it gets each part, it all operates in sequence. That's your mind. Your mind is the quantum operating system of the whole thing,
Right.
right? It's tells it what the body what to do. Then you have your soul. Okay, well, your soul is the power source for all of it. That's where
Hmm.
you plug it into the wall. That's where you're getting the power for everything. Okay, so then resonance is your binary code. It's the ones
Hmm.
and zeros of how this all work.
Hmm.
So how does consciousness fit into that? It's the keyboard.
Hmm.
It's how you tell the computer what you want it to do, right? So
Wow.
you can have a computer turned on with everything on and it's sitting there, but if you're not inputting things in the keyboard, it's not going to do anything.
Right.
So that's where I tell people about all this, is that what you need to do is input what you want into the keyboard, and then the rest of it will work in sequence.
That's a really cool way of thinking about it because it's such a multifactorial system that we are in. And, from my perspective, like when you were saying like the hot pan, analogy, that's your sensory perceptions, right? Like how do you perceive your environment? And it's like if we are just a soul and our soul came to feel and expand consciousness and teach one gigantic unified consciousness more. And through each of us fractals of light, we're learning more, we're growing, we're experiencing the breadth of emotion of contrast of what it's like to have sorrow, what it's like to have joy, what it's like to be poor, what it's like to be rich. Like you're constantly learning and growing through those experiences. And so you can't just perceive it with just one of the systems. Like you need all of it to be in harmony, doing that beautiful dance together to really experience it all fully.
But it also answers what happens when things break.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if you have a bad piece of the computer,
Hmm.
right? Your graphics card goes bad. You got to fix that graphics card,
Right.
right? So that would be Western medicine. You got to fix the graphics card. Okay, so if the operating system has a virus in it, i.e., anxiety or depression or whatever, you've got to fix that. You've got
Hmm.
to rewrite the code.
Hmm.
Okay, if you're out of resonance, if the ones and zeros aren't matching up, right? You've got to rewrite that so the ones and zeros match,
Right.
right? Only when all of these pieces work in sequence will what you put in on the keyboard work the way it's supposed to.
That's
And the
that.
problem is in Western medicine and everything that there is right now, we focus on the computer core
Hmm.
and forget the fact that there's a quantum operating system operating the whole thing,
Right.
right? So we fix the computer core, but we don't fix the rest of it. So
Yeah.
you have people that are inputting into the keyboard what they want. The ones and zeros aren't right. The operating system is broken, but the computer core is working fine. You're
Yeah.
not getting what you want out of it. It's not going to work.
I think this is a perfect like kind of segue to the idea that I go to the doctor. I'm not feeling good. There's all these things that are wrong with me. I don't feel right. I go to the doctor. The doctor's like, all the tests are normal. You're fine. There's nothing wrong. Everything's good. You're like, I don't feel well. Like, how do I explain my not feeling well? And like nobody knows until you get so desperate and your body just collapses like mine did. I was like, oh, there's a whole different piece of the puzzle that I'm completely ignoring or didn't know existed.
The
And then
computer
now
core is not sick.
yeah, the computer core is totally fine. It's there's
Mhm,
nothing broken with the body. It's the spirit that's broken, or it's the biofield that's broken, or it has interference and it needs to just get back into that recalibrated
mhm,
state. And so it's really fascinating. I don't know if I told you this or not, is that I've been using some tuning forks on some kids, just kind of like seeing how this works. And I've been doing a lot of tuning forks on the throat chakra. And I have had more than 3 children now go from not speaking or having utterances and having some words and using AAC devices, which is like an augmentative alternative
mhm,
communication, an iPad where they talk on,
mhm,
to having I have one child who's now 5 to 6 word phrases, and his mom can't even keep up. I was like, "Can you start tracking what he's saying?" She's like, "I can't keep up. It's too much now. He says too much." And that was after like 4 sessions, 5
mhm,
sessions of tuning forks. And I'm not here to cure autism. I'm here to unlock the body so the body can just work in the way that the body wants to work. And maybe that doesn't work for everybody, but I'm seeing it happen more and more, and the kids like them. They'll get the tuning forks, they'll put them on their own body. I have neurotypical kids who just have emotional dysregulation. They ask for the tuning forks because
mhm,
they like how it feels in the body.
mhm,
My husband had his heart was fluttering this week, and he was like, "Oh, just like I feel anxious." I said, "Sit down." And I did heart chakra, and I cleared the heart chakra, and I did some Reiki. And he immediately took a deep breath in.
mhm.
He was like, "Why does that work?" I'm like, "I'm just
Because
recalibrating the system."
you're fixing the part that's broken. So if you go to the doctor and the doctor looks at you and says there's nothing wrong with you, okay, so the computer core is fine.
Mhm.
So then what else is broken?
Right.
Are the ones and zeros not doing this, or do you have a virus in the operating system?
Right.
Okay, if you've got a virus in the operating system, then okay, we've got to fix that virus in the operating system and then see if
Mhm.
it works. Sometimes, and this is where I tell people how resonance works in this is that when you have a virus on your computer, what do?
Right.
You run an antivirus program.
Exactly. You
The
find out
one
why.
the ones and zeros then in the antivirus program then pull out the virus, right? And fixes the operating system. Resonance is part of that.
Mhm.
It's the ones and zeros of your body, but when the ones and zero when the quantum operating system is broken, you can pass a song or a sound or whatever through it, and that's your antivirus software. That's
Man.
going to pull whatever it is out and help the ones and zeros read it properly.
Mhm.
That's where, and so then I took that and went, okay, let's make music with it.
Mhm. Do you think there's a way of doing like how you do a diagnostic on a computer? Do you think that we are walking closer and closer to them finding a way to do diagnostics on the whole human of looking at all the systems?
You can. We already
What do you
can.
what do we use? What can we do to kind of identify which system is out of whack?
It's simple to do it on your own,
Mhm.
right? First things first is I always suggest go to the doctor,
Right.
right? Go there first.
Mhm.
Because if you've got a broken computer core, that doesn't mean that the other parts of it aren't okay, so the computer core is broken. Fix that first.
Right.
Okay, go to the doctor, talk to the doctor, go see your health professional. If you have a sinus infection, there isn't enough resonance in the world that's going to help you clear that sinus infection. You need medicine. Go get the medicine. Once that's done, now we can focus on the other parts.
Right.
Okay. And then you start thinking about where is the actual problem. And this is where I tell people where's the problem. I think it's Kitlin's law. Clearly identifying a problem means that it's half solved. You're halfway
Mhm.
there. So let's clearly identify where the problem is. Is the problem with your computer core? Is it with your body? Is something broken?
Mhm.
Or is it with the operating system and there's something not working right? Or is it with the ones and zeros and the ones and zeros are out of whack? Let's identify this problem. Once we
Yeah.
identify that problem, we can then start treating that. We can then start working at that. And that's part of with what I'm doing on my Patreon is, one of the tiers that I do is you'll actually sit down with me twice a week and we'll talk about what you want. What's the problem? And we'll clearly identify a problem,
Mhm.
right? And then I'll sit there and go, okay, if this is your problem, your computer core is broken, you need to go to the doctor.
Mm.
This is where you're going. Once you do that, come back to me. We'll then come up with something to fix the operating system, or we'll fix the ones and zeros. Or in a
Yeah.
case like some people, okay, so your computer core is not broken. I've been to the doctor 500 times. Everything's okay. Tests are coming back negative. So it's a quantum problem. So it's a quantum problem. So it's either in the operating system or the ones and zeros.
Right.
Let's look at each one.
I like to, and it's not affordable or just yet. I'm hoping it becomes more affordable and more mainstream for whether we have a insurance for-profit system still or however this, translates in the future. But a lot of holistic doctors, holistic providers look
Mm-hmm.
at the whole system, right? Like my sister went to the doctor for everything and everything. Oh, it's just in your head, especially women. Women get so marginalized in healthcare that it's just in our head. And I'm like, no, it's not. Listen to me. There's more going on. But what if it's not? It's all in your head, but it's in your biofield, right? And so then that's where the holistic providers come in and they look at all of the systems together. And like I refer people to Living Holistic here in Houston, the Houston area, the Woodlands area, because they have physicians on staff, they have acupuncturists, they have people hypnotists, they've got holistic healers who do different types of modalities. They have the Rife machine. They use like one of my friends. She would like hold this iPad. I can't think of the name of what it is right now, and she would speak into it, and with her resonance of her voice, it would be able to pick up her dysfunction of like what was kind of off, whether it was
Uh-huh.
dietary or her environment was, different toxins were happening. And when she cleared that out, she would get homeostasis in her body and her body was healed and she was able to then get pregnant just by using holistic healing versus just traditional Western medicine. So yes, doctors are a huge part of it, but I think that as we've talked about, AMA doesn't know everything and doctors are taught in this AMA model. I think also expanding our horizons to looking at holistic providers, looking at people who think differently, because then you have a wider variety of ideas and strategies that can help you. Would you agree
Well,
with that?
yeah, and I want to preface this at this point in time by saying this. There are wonderful people in the medical field.
100%.
There are amazing physicians and amazing
Mhm.
nurses. I'm a paramedic, right? There
Yeah.
are amazing EMS providers. There
Mhm.
are amazing providers out there who don't know any better. There's a difference between ignorance and negligence,
Right,
right?
exactly.
They're just doing the job the way they were trained. That
Mhm.
doesn't mean that they're wrong. People
No.
sit there and go, "Oh, my doctor sucks." No, your doctor's doing the best he can. He's not
Mhm.
going to get it right. There's a
Right,
resonance problem. It's an operating system problem. He's dealing with the computer core. The computer core is not broken,
right.
right? The other part of this is. So, I think that that's the things that I always push to tell people, chiropractors. Find a
Mhm.
chiropractor,
Oh, yeah.
right? Your back is where your back is the information superhighway of your body. If it is not in alignment, literally it's called alignment, it's not going to work right. So
I
go find a
love
chiropractor.
chiropractic. Mhm.
Uh Float therapy,
Mhm.
right? There's a place that I usually go through, it's called True Rest. Go in there and float for a couple hours. Why is it so good? Because you float in magnesium. First of all, Epsom salt is one of the best things you can do for your body.
Mhm.
However, and when you do resonance bath, I always suggest do Epsom salt. Epsom
Right.
salt will hold resonance,
Mhm.
right? So go float for an hour because your body, it'll take all that weight off of all those parts and everything. It'll take it off of there and give
Mhm.
your chance of body to rest
Mhm.
and take a minute and not have to deal with all this. And it'll give your nervous system a chance to shut down for a minute.
Yeah.
And then you'll come out. And I've come out of that tank angry before. Why am I
Wow.
so angry because of this? Because my body it allowed some stuff to come out that
Yep.
hasn't been in there, that's been
Yeah.
hiding. So, I try to go do that once a month. I go to the chiropractor every week. Right? My doctor's an amazing guy. He every week he does it. And that's part of this whole thing.
Mhm. I
So
feel so much better after chiropractics.
each part of this goes in there, and when you start, I feel like Charlie Day sometimes in that thing where he has all the red lines connected, his conspiracy room. So I
Yeah.
sit there sometimes and I'm like, dude, I am totally Charlie Day in this. But then I look at it, I go, no, this all makes sense,
Mhm.
right? This is how we do this. So I'm like, okay, so what am I gonna do? I'm gonna help deal with the operating system. That's what I do.
Yeah. I'm
You
so
know,
excited. I'm so excited to like for the world to know more about what you do, what I do, what all of us different healers. Like, I think that, God is not duplicitous or the universe is not duplicitous in the sense that like you have your skill sets because that is what you came here to do. I have my skill sets because this is what I came here to do. And then they all are like this beautiful mosaic that play in together to help just people heal. And
Mhm.
not every healing modality is for everybody. Like some people are super against chiropractic for very real reasons. And I completely understand the validity in that. Like I have not experienced a negative version with my chiropractor that I've seen. And so I just think that it's being open-minded and just thinking outside of the box that maybe there's just more that we don't yet know and maybe we should be curious about what we don't know and lean into it. That's my whole purpose. It's not demonizing any profession or any ever because I love the people I work with and I love the industry that I like the people I know in the industry. It's just I think that we need to keep growing and expanding on what we're doing to
We
see
need
the
to
whole picture.
in medicine, especially being in medicine for 20 years, we need to start identifying the problem.
Mhm.
Where is it? So chiropractor is great. I had a horrible experience with my somebody says I have a horrible experience with my chiropractor. Okay. So is it his fault? Well, this happened and this happened. Okay, did you ever think that there's a problem with the computer core? That there's something that a chiropractor can't fix that needs to be medically solved,
Right,
right? If you have a bulging disc in your back and you go, it hurt. Well, you have a bulging disc.
right,
It's not going to not hurt. You got to fix that problem. Once you fix that,
mhm,
it's going to work right.
right,
Right. So we need to start in medicine in particularly, we need to start clearly identifying where and what the problem is and then treating based upon that.
mhm.
Right. Treating based upon, okay, so it's a computer core problem. We're going to heal that. We're going to fix that first. Right. Is
Yeah,
it a quantum
absolutely.
system problem? We're going to fix that first.
I think this will just like help to maybe drop the seed or plant the seed into people's minds of thinking just outside the box
Mhm.
and like learning something new that they didn't know before. So I'm like so deeply grateful for everything that you've shared today. I want to talk to you. I feel like I could talk to you for hours about just every different topic. I want to kind of segue into your healing music so
Sure.
that the viewers and listeners can hear what it might be like to listen to Tony, the Awakened, History Teacher's music on SoundCloud or Spotify, wherever you can find it.
Mhm.
So, do you have any intro into your new song, Let It Flow?
Um, I base a lot of what I do off of each part. So, you know, I'll think of what I want the song to sound like, and then I'll say, okay, I want it to sound like this. And then I'll go, okay, let's add in resonance.
Mhm.
Let's add in this. And then after I add all that in, okay, now let's write lyrics for this. And then, I'll model it off of a particular thing. This
Sorry.
song, this song is modeled after, in particularly, it's modeled after, a kind of Spanish flair, particularly like Danza Kuduro, right? It's modeled after that. So when you hear it, you'll go, "Oh, okay, that kind of sounds like that."
Mhm.
But then you don't realize that it's tuned particularly. It's set up to make you feel good. Where it's just not a song about this. It's set up to make you feel good.
I'm so excited. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's hear it. Okay. This is my first time listening to the whole thing. I'm live blind reacting.
Hands up, the rhythm pulls me close. Your fire's burning stronger than I know. Every step is a spark in the night. We're alive. The way you move, it takes me
Tony. Tony. I love it. Okay, I'm picturing myself literally dancing right now in the middle of my living room with my kids to this because I just feel like it's so high vibe. It made me feel like I started smiling. And then when the Spanish kicked in, I was not expecting it. Like I
Mhm.
know you said it had tones of it, but I didn't expect to like hear it. This is so cool.
No, and it's I can tell you the way I did it is when the first Dance With Me comes in, I get chills sent all the way down my spine. Every time I've listened to it so
Mhm,
far, it goes right down there. I'm like, "Okay, so it hits. That's what I'm looking for. Let's
mhm,
do this." So, you know what I mean? And so I adjusted and tweaked things here and there to get the final one. Um, the only thing I had about it is that it's not as long as I usually do. I like my songs about 3.5, 4 minutes. It's only
mhm,
about 3 minutes.
mhm.
So but the problem is if I extend it out or change it, and I did. I added some stuff in there. I'm like, okay, let's add this, let's do this. And by the time I got done with it, I'm like, it's not the same. That short little quick burst, it's a quick pick me up. That's
Oh, I
what this is
loved
gonna
it.
be.
Yeah. No,
So
it's so different from In Your Eyes though. Like In Your Eyes is just like more like moody and like I can feel like all the Egyptian, like it was like almost like drumming and just it felt ancient. But this felt like 2025 in a club or like, like again at Tomorrowland and the whole crowd just like dancing like feel it.
the whole thing is it's covering everything. I'm working on one right now that I'm finishing up, that has a country flair to it, like a Morgan Wallen, Brett Eldridge kind of feel to it meets EDM.
It's
So I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna cross everything. It's not about that. It's about, okay, so you like country music, then there's a country one in there. You know what I mean? It's about being interesting and attaching things, and people will sit there and go, okay, I like this. You
yeah.
know, EDM is
Mhm.
such a and CDM is such a misunderstood type of music
Mhm.
because it can be anything. If you want it to be country, you can just add a country flair. If you want
Yeah.
it to have the ancient Egyptian sound, you just add certain drums and certain riffs. If you want it to have this, you just do this. It's so misunderstood, and that's one of the things I'm like, I it's my favorite kind of music because, and especially now that I make it, I can go anywhere with it.
Mhm.
One of the other ones that I put out that is going to be out next week, it's just an instrumental track, but it has a Punjabi feel to it. It's got an Indian feel to it,
Whoa, that's cool.
right? So it's like I can put this anywhere I want and still stick to my style of music. My
Mhm.
style is heavy resonance, big bass, big drops. I like the echoing person. I like the break in there between the actual chorus and the pre-chorus. That kind of where everything stops for a minute and then
Mhm.
picks up. That's my style. So I'm able to take that style and apply it to wherever I want it to be. To a country
Man.
song, I can apply it there. If I want to do just a straight pop EDM song, I can apply it there. If I want to do something with an ancient Egyptian flair to it, I can pop it there. You know
You
what
know
I
what
mean?
You know what's so cool is, like, just watching your energy shift too. Like, before, we're just talking and all that kinda stuff, and it's, like, science-y, but then, like, when you play your creation and you feel your creation come to life, and then knowing that people are just gonna hear this and resonate with it and, like, dance to it, like, your demeanor changed, your energy elevated, and, like, so did mine. Like, I feel like I'm now turned on, and that's the power of frequency. That's the
Mhm.
power of vibration, and it's just I pray that people walk away from this podcast and just understand that music is cathartic. Music is healing. It's so much more powerful than just lyrics and beats. It goes into your body, it goes into your nervous system and it can change your actual mood. And I'm just so deeply grateful for your time today because I've learned a lot and seeing like into your world about how you create the music and how you think about the frequencies is so intentional and so creative. Like there, I don't know. I'm sure other people like do something with the frequency. I understand that, but just seeing how you're putting all of the layers of your knowledge into this
Mhm.
is profound. And I think that this is going to be huge. And I please don't forget me when you're famous.
I'm gonna tell everybody if you don't believe me, if you don't believe what she's saying, go try it.
Yeah.
Right? Go on to SoundCloud or go on to Spotify and look me up and try it. It's free. It doesn't
Hmm.
cost you anything. If nothing else, you've wasted a couple minutes of your time listening to a song that you're like, it's really not my style. That's okay. Go
Hmm.
try it because
Yeah. What's it going to hurt?
you might be surprised, and it doesn't cost you anything.
Right.
And you can do it at any point in time. You can do it. You know what? I want to listen to this. You can get in the car and be like, you know what? I'm going to try that out and listen to
Mhm,
it just like you would listen to an entire new album by whoever, what are. You can listen to the whole new Morgan Wallen album. You can
mhm,
listen to the Morgan Wallen song. That's your choice. But try this.
exactly. Yeah.
Try something with some intention built behind it.
Do you have any parting message for someone who is maybe not yet awake or they are beginning to wake up in what you've experienced, that might help them or give them a little bit of hope? This is the hardest question I ever ask people. They're like, "Oh god, there's so much." But, like, what is a good soundbite for someone who's just waking up?
This is gonna suck, right?
Like,
I
the
mean,
dark night of the soul is so deep.
I'm telling you right now, it's gonna suck, but it's worth
Yeah,
it in the end.
it's worth it in the end.
Okay, you'll get to a point in it where you sit there and go, okay, this is entirely worth it. It's the same thing with everything. The first time
Mhm,
you do anything with resonance, you do a resonance bath, you do resonance music, you're not gonna feel good. That music
mhm,
you will because it's built around something. But if you actually get into resonance work, you're gonna
mhm.
get out of your first resonance bath. You're gonna get out of your first resonance session. You're gonna be nauseous. You're not gonna feel good. It's yeah, same
Yeah,
thing with float spa. You're not gonna feel good. Chiropractor. Your first time, you're not gonna feel good.
it's like
It's going
detoxing.
it's going to suck.
Yeah,
Keep at it.
keep at it.
If it sucks, you're doing it right.
That's so wise because it does suck. There's a lot of the dark night of the soul when you're healing the body, the mind, and the soul that it's like you don't even know if you're ever gonna get to the other side of it. Like, I almost didn't survive it, and so it's like the fact that I kept going and stayed one more day, that's why I'm here doing this right now is to tell people, like, "Stay one more day and just keep going and know that it can get better." And it is so much lighter on I feel so much better and lighter on this side of
Mhm,
it, but
mhm.
walking through it was
I
torturous,
will
like,
sell the same
yeah,
thing. If it doesn't suck, you're not doing it right.
right. If it's all
And
light and
there's
love, like,
and there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's all based on your experience.
right.
So my experience of going through this is different than your experience of going through this, different than anybody else, right?
Mhm.
However, it's going to suck
Yeah.
for a
But
little bit.
but it'll be worth it.
But in the end, when you start actually feeling better, start healing, it'll feel better.
Mhm.
You can do 3 resonance bats and do your 3 resonance bats, and every one of them, the first 2 are gonna be terrible. But the 3rd one, all of a sudden, your nervous system and your body have aligned to be able to accept that, like, physically and energetically, but physically, your body's able to process that.
Mhm.
All of a sudden, you'll be like, "Okay, the suck was worth it." You know what I
Yes.
mean? So, it's gonna suck,
Yeah, but keep going.
but don't stop,
The better days are ahead.
okay?
Wow.
It's worth it in the end, I can promise you that.
Tony, where can everybody find you? I'm gonna add everything in the bio, but where can everybody find you on all of your platforms because you are such a valuable player in this game?
Um My home is TikTok, so it's at TikTok History Teacher.
Okay.
Um, you can find everything else on my website, which is tiktokhistoryteacher.com. I'm on YouTube. The only changes is that when you get into the music on SoundCloud, it's Awakened History Teacher. I
Mhm.
Somebody asked me why I changed it, and I said because music from the TikTok History Teacher doesn't sound right. It
Right,
doesn't give the right vibe.
right.
So, soundcloud.com Awaken History Teacher. If you want to do any of the resonance sessions that I put out, or you want to sit down and talk with me and we can talk about what your goals are, you get that on Patreon. So it's patreon.com/ TikTok History Teacher. The podcast is called The Resonance of History. The first episode or 2 will be out probably in the next week. You'll get that wherever you can get your podcasts. The music is the same deal. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, wherever you get your music, you can find it. But the best place to get those is going to be SoundCloud because that's where
Okay.
everything is released new. And
Mhm.
then once I release it on there, then I watch what's popular. So I track
Okay.
the analytics. So if
Mhm.
I have songs in there that aren't popular, I'm not going to release them on Spotify because they're not popular. You know what I mean? You can get them on SoundCloud, but I'll track the analytics and then release what people are listening to out to the rest of it. So the
Thank
best
you
place to
so
look is
much.
SoundCloud.
This is awesome. I am so grateful for your time. I'm so happy that the universe allowed me to find you on TikTok. You're just the coolest creator, and I think that people have a lot to learn from you. So
Well,
keep
thank you.
going. Don't stop. And I really hope that we can have you back on here again in the future because we have way, way more to talk about.
Anytime.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining another episode of Light Beyond the Ashes. I can't wait to keep meeting new creators, new people who have worked through spiritual awakenings and found their gifts and their wisdom on the other side of it all. Don't give up. We're in this together. Keep going. We've got this.